Oh, because like these new tariffs. What are these new tariffs, bro?
Well, at least he's asking questions. Okay, it's your girl JDO with another episode of Conservative Black Girls. Let's get it.
10% universal baseline on all imports effective immediately. Like on top of all the tariffs that have been implemented before. 34% tax on imports from China, 20% tax on imports from the EU, 25% on South Korea, 24% on Japan, 32% on Taiwan, 46% on imports from Vietnam. That's where the switches are being made, bro. The rate at which we're fast tracking towards isolationism, it's actually kind of disgusting. Oh my god. And just to be clear, we are the ones paying for the tariffs. They're taxing the other countries, but we're getting hit when we gotta buy the stuff from those countries.
Okay, y'all. So, two big trending topics: Liberation Day and, of course, tariffs. Now, there are a lot of mixed opinions about this, but there is nobody that's more upset about these tariffs and liberation more than the Democrats. Like, they are hot, okay? At this point, I think it's appropriate to stop even referring to them as liberals because they hate all things liberation. As a matter of fact, we're going to start calling them oppressors because that's more aligned with who they are.
This is Liberation Day, waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. We're going to make it wealthy, good and wealthy. For decades, our country has been looted, pillaged, and plundered by nations near and far, both friend and foe alike. American steelworkers, auto workers, farmers, and skilled craftsmen, we have a lot of them here with us today. They really suffered gravely. They watched in anguish as foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our factories, and foreign scavengers have torn apart our once beautiful American dream. We had an American dream that you don't hear so much about. You did 4 years ago, and you are now, but you don't too often, and for many years and decades even, you didn't hear too much about. Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen. In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple. Can't get any simpler than that. This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper, and in so doing, use trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our taxes and pay down our national debt, and it'll all happen very quickly.
There you have it, folks. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, speaking about reciprocal tariffs on Liberation Day. And it's important that he emphasized reciprocal because, of course, these radical Democrats are definitely going to try to flip the script because they want everything but to make America great again.
Happy April 2nd, y'all. Today is Liberation Day in the United States, Trump's new holiday. Let me tell you how we celebrated. We started off the day by having a 25% tariff on all import vehicles and a 10% blanket on all imports. Here's the full graphic of what our reciprocal tariffs look like from the United States. Additionally, celebrated by putting a 34% reciprocal tariff on China, 20% reciprocal tariff to the EU, 49% on imports from Cambodia, and 37% on goods from Bangladesh. Liberation Day is also known as Make America Wealthy Again, and as we can see, the lower and middle class will not be benefiting much from this, but that's okay because it's short term. Prices will just be high for a little bit. So don't worry, guys. Everything's gonna work out. You know what I'm saying? So if you haven't wished your friends a happy Liberation Day yet, I recommend you do so. Their reaction has been very fun.
Oh goodness, what a negative Nancy. I think one of the most annoying things about these Democrats is that they lack vision. They really just can't see past their rhetoric and their nonsense. Pretend as though the world is going to blow up and nothing good is going to come of any of the choices that Donald Trump has made. We're supposed to believe that this lady with the cowbell nose ring has more information and knows more about business than President Donald Trump. Get over yourself.
Tariff day today, it's down 3.6% after hours. Here's why it's selling off and what I think happens next. Tariffs came in worse than expected, a lot worse than expected. So I laid out here the base case assumptions the market was pricing in for today. That's what the market expected. Here's what actually happened today. The policy enacted today is much more aggressive and far-reaching in nature. It's deemed a reciprocal tariff policy in which 10% baseline tariff across the board. The plan imposes steep rates on many countries, 34% on China, 20% on the European Union, 46% on Vietnam, and 32% on Taiwan. To clarify, the tariff on China comes in addition to the existing 20% tariff already in action. So really the effective tariff rate on China is 54%. There were no reversals of tariffs on Canada and Mexico. And guess how many countries are impacted now? Here's the list. 50. 50. Here's what I think happens next.
Okay, so this person seems like he's coming from a more financial side about how things are going to go. And I have to mention that I remember Donald Trump saying something about it's going to get hard before it gets easy. Let me know down in the comments. I don't remember the video. Tag the video in the comments. But he mentioned with the tariffs, before it gets easy, it is going to be hard. And he wants the American people to work with him. But let's hear him talk.
So the stock market's going to very quickly price this all in over the next few days. We're going to see some red days, some pretty big red days, some volatility. Once that's done, I think the market is starting to bake in the fact that a lot of this could just be negotiations. Yes, and I think that it's going to bake in, and I know a lot of smart investors are thinking a very similar way, that the rates that we saw today are likely the worst and that they will likely get better. As more countries start negotiating, hopefully we do not end up in a global trade war. There's two potential outcomes. The first one is that the impacts of these tariffs hit fast and they hit hard. And a truce may be formed, but it might be too late. And this happened in 2018. And when this happened, the stock market dropped 25% from top to bottom. The second scenario is that as soon as the administration starts to see weak economic data coming out, they may decide to pull back on some of these tariffs, and the president may try to highly encourage the Fed to start dropping rates sooner than expected. We just need more data, and as I've encouraged all of you over the last few weeks, be patient.
Okay, laid out pretty well. He was respectful and he gave us the financial side. Most importantly, what I took from what he said was be patient. No one knows what's going to happen exactly, but I think Donald Trump has a good hold on this.
How is reciprocal tariffs not fair? I mean, the president actually spelled it out. He said, whatever a country charges us in tariffs, we will charge that country. I don't think it gets any more fair than that. I mean, technically, the country controls how much tariffs they have to pay. Whatever they charge, that's what they're going to get charged. And in fact, if they don't want to pay any tariffs, then build manufacturing here. Build a business here, and then there are no tariffs. So please tell me, how is that not fair? Because you got people saying that it's not. And I just need someone to explain that to me.
Are there any Democrats in the chat? If you are a Democrat in the chat, please, we will not suppress your opinion here. You are free to chat as long as it's respectful. Keep it respectful, but I need to know. I need you to answer this question for me. How is it not fair to implement reciprocal tariffs? Please answer that question for me because I don't see why it's not fair. And obviously this man doesn't either. But I'm glad that he brought that point up because it really is something that needs to be discussed. If the left is willing to have a conversation, of course, which I don't see them doing anytime soon.
Dino, what do you think about Liberation Day tomorrow?
Liberation Day tomorrow?
Yes, April 2nd, right?
Yeah, tomorrow's Liberation Day. You get ready to be liberated from low prices. Everything's gonna get more expensive if he actually goes through with that 20-25%, whatever blanket.
Tariff.
Everything's gonna get more expensive. That's what's gonna happen. It's kind of crazy what he's doing right now. It's, if you think look, take a step back. Free trade, right? America is the epitome of free trade, but we take it up the from other countries. There's no question. It's not a fair playing game. Europe, Asia, whatever, right? We are open, free trade. We practice the true definition of free trade. They don't. It's not fair. So I don't disagree with using tariffs. Like I always say before, like instead of like using it as like a machete, use it like a scalpel. Like you have to be targeted. You have to target certain things where it makes sense, where it doesn't hurt us, and it's really something that you can quote unquote fix without hurting us, right? It's like, for example, you do targeted tariffs on products that to protect your manufacturing when other countries are doing things that are unfair, whatever, right? But to blanket, things are just gonna get more expensive. There's no question. Look up Smoot Hawley, look up Herbert Hoover, look at all those things, right?
What were those things?
So Smoot Hawley was,
Right.
some people argue, caused the Great Depression. It was tariffs. The last time a president did this, using like this much tariffs, like trying to blanket tariffs, is Herbert Hoover. Never worked out. So I don't understand how this is going to be good for us, right? He says there's temporary pain. There's not going to be temporary pain, if you ask me. If you blanket tariffs, there's no such thing as temporary pain. There's so many industries in this country that will never get the jobs back. I was listening to Kramer today, and he's a great example about seamstresses. Will we ever bring industries like that back over here? No, we're a service economy. And then for certain industries that you bring the jobs back, great, right? But if you look at, where we don't have a competitive advantage in producing that product domestically, it's because primarily our cost of living, standard of living in this country is really high. Wages to earn a living wage is high. So that's the nature of competitive advantages. You make something elsewhere because you can't afford to make it that cheap, to provide to your consumers the lowest price. That's what we all want, lower prices, right? So, because we're a services economy now, there's certain things you can't onshore. And if other industries that you onshore things, it's not going to happen overnight. We don't have capacity, we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the capital investment. It takes time to build new factories. There are some microcosms out there of factories with lower capacity, with unutilized capacity, fine. But in the big picture, if you do blanket to bring those certain industries back, it's going to take you years to develop the infrastructure to be able to produce those things, even if those things could be competitively priced. So the point being that that's a time that you need to bring those industries back, right? So the bottom line is what? Everything's going to get more expensive.
And guess what? We're here for the long haul, okay? It's going to take us years. Donald Trump has 4 years in office. Hopefully it happens during the time he's in office, but even if we start to get the residual after he gets out of office, I'm okay with that. It's going to get hard before it gets better. But again, I can respect this man's opinion. And of course, it is his opinion. A very well thought out opinion, but nonetheless, an opinion. And we welcome the opinion of people who do not agree with us. Because unlike Democrats, conservatives value diversity of thought. Let's keep listening.
Yeah. I mean, you tariff Canada on lumber? So and you tariff car prices, blanket like that? So the two biggest nuts a household has, right, is their mortgage or rent. Lumber is going to affect that, and cars. Everything's going to, get more expensive. If it goes through this way, we'll see tomorrow what happens.
All right. Happy Liberation Day.
While conservatives and Republicans are much better at hearing people out, I would not be fair if I didn't give Democrats the opportunity to give their opinion on Liberation Day. Let's hear the Democrats in all their wisdom.
To welcome you all to Liberation Day. Liberation Day is a celebration of our independence, our business independence, if you will. We will be announcing in the Rose Garden later today. President Trump is going to announce the details. I will not get ahead of him by announcing those details himself. So he will be releasing the details of the tariffs that we will be imposing on every country that we used to be friends with, or at least the ones that we're ripping us off with Joe Biden's weakness and his leadership, the world will really benefit from us charging them more tariffs, because then they get to earn our business and they will value us more.
Is Trump working with other people for these tariffs?
Absolutely. President Trump's trade and tariff team has been working around the clock. They don't sleep. It's amazing. And you think that Cory Booker, aka Clearance Barack Obama, is impressive because he's been standing there doing, I don't know, a version of monologues in the Senate floor. I don't know. I don't listen. I'm here working. And I am also a working mother and a Christ follower. So I don't know. And I don't care what the Failing Atlantic has to say, quite frankly. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Liberation Day today?
Yes. Thank you for asking that. Washington Post today is a celebration of America's leadership through strength, unlike the pathetic weakness of Joe Biden. Caitlin. Yes.
You were very cryptic yesterday about who qualifies as a criminal at the border. Could you be more clear?
I've already answered this question, but I will reiterate again that MS-13 is a terrorist organization as well as Tren de Agua, and they have been dealt with thanks to the bravery of our ICE agents, and President Trump, frankly, is the one that's behind all of this. He's actually arresting all of them by hand himself. He's actually a black belt in all martial arts. People don't really know that because he actually showed off his skills in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, but that scene was cut. We can roll the tapes later, but they are the worst kind of criminals ever. Do you know what they do with corpses? You don't want to know. That's what. That's right. In fact, you want to know who's their leader? You want to guess? Joe Biden. That's right. He's actually the Tren de Agua leader, and do you know what they call him? Jose.
Okay, this girl is very funny, but most Democrats are funny. They're funny, they're radical in their ideology, and they have a really keen ability to make you laugh when they're not even trying. I have to hand it to this lady. It says April 2nd press briefing, but this should have been just the day prior to April 2nd when she did this, because this is hilarious.
Josepi then. That's right. You heard it here first, and I would hate to keep you all waiting. We are going to be at the Rose Garden. You're all invited, except for you, Caitlin. But Steve from Reuters, you're welcome to come. Anyway, I'm happy to have you all here, especially because we are going to answer the question of who let the dogs out. It was Joe Biden.
Okay, pretty funny. Unintentionally funny, but funny. On to a more educational note, shall we?
Let's talk tariffs. I'm putting my teacher hat on. I do teach economics. I teach government as well. So by no means am I telling you to support Trump's tariffs or not support the tariffs, but I do want to kind of simply give you the information so you can participate in the conversations and just know what's going on. So what is a tariff? A tariff is simply a tax on imported goods, things that are coming into the country. So the clarifying piece I want to note is that the other country, meaning the country that is making the goods and shipping the goods, does not pay the tax. The people, us, receiving the goods actually pays the tax. So, for example, if I am a business owner within the United States, and let's just say my business is soybean patties, like I sell soybean patties in the United States, but I get my soybeans from China. And the only reason I get my soybeans from China is because it's affordable and I can make more of a profit. But now there's a coercive incentive. So there's a tariff on the soybeans from China because it's not US made. So now what would have cost me like $10,000 for my soybeans from China, now with the 20% tariff, it'll now cost me like $12,000 or so on, depending on how much you're spending. So ultimately, what is the United States trying to do? They're trying to incentivize me to either one, buy here in the United States to do what? Increase the GDP, or even take that soybean company in China, move it to the United States, which will essentially increase employment, open up jobs, and still increase the GDP. Countries should ultimately want their GDP, their gross domestic product, to increase. This basically just means that consumers are spending more money. Consumers have money in their pockets to spend. This gets a country out of a recession. This ultimately helps inflation and just overall makes more of a healthy economy. So on the flip side, the cons of tariffs, obviously it affects the consumers. So like consumer pricing on everyday goods and services will go up. It may go up for a short period of time and then decrease depending on how many businesses are buying from the United States or are moving their companies to the United States. So it could be temporary, it could be long term, who knows? Tariffs are ultimately risky, especially like retaliation tariffs that's going on right now. And what we should note is that, this does not happen overnight. This takes a long process. So if the tariffs ultimately becomes a positive step for the United States, building industries within the United States, bringing industries to the United States and getting prices down takes a good bit of time. It doesn't happen overnight. So let me know in the comments what you think. Obviously, I voted for Trump. I do support Trump and the policies that are taking place. Tariffs are, like I said, risky. So you just never know. There's so many factors that plays in to know if this is going to be successful. But let me know what you think.
Wow. Just wow. Shout out to the 7% because the 92% really just doesn't do a good job at being fair and impartial. She just laid out the pros and the cons, and she started her video off saying that she's an educator, and indeed, she just educated us. And I like how she started her video out saying she's an educator and start spitting facts about tariffs, how they work, the pros and the cons. And she wrapped it up saying that ultimately no one knows. It's not going to be a fast process. It's going to be something that we as the American people have to work through, but ultimately it would be the best thing for our country. Isn't that something that we all want? Or are Democrats still trying to leave the country? Let me know down in the comments. Y'all trying to leave the country, Democrats?
So Trump just announced massive tariffs on what he's calling Liberation Day. What are we being liberated from? Like our wallets? Because this is just going to make prices go up. Are we being liberated from the economy? Because that's just going to go down the toilet. Good thing we don't need that anymore. It's stupid. This branding is so ridiculous. Liberation Day. There's going to be people celebrating this while they go bankrupt. People are so stupid.
This guy is obviously frustrated about Liberation Day. So frustrated that he couldn't quite find the words to say about Liberation Day overall without cursing out the camera. But let me know if you guys see it, because he seems more upset about Donald Trump than he is about the tariffs. And that's been an overall theme with the Democrats. They seem more disturbed about Donald Trump than anything that he's doing for the American people, which leads me to believe what Democrats have been saying all along. They do not want to make this country great again, and they are anti all things that can complete that assignment.
It is the bedwetters, the pee in their pants at night, all the Wall Street people, they're at it again. All the weak-kneed Republicans with no spine, they're all nervous. The stock market went down a couple of points today. They're all whining. They're going on Squawk Box. They're calling up Letnick. They're calling up Bessner. Oh my God, the stocks are down. These tariffs, we got to do something about it. Shut up. Just be quiet. The tariffs are going to revitalize the United States economy, our sovereignty and jobs. The jobs report is going to come out this week. It's going to be through the roof. We're adding jobs like crazy. This is what you got to look at. Stop peeing your pants because the stock market goes down by 2 o'clock in the afternoon one day. You've got to be able to stand up to this and get through it. Country is going bankrupt. Our jobs are going away. We've got to fix this. Now let's talk about DOGE, okay? Here's the purpose of DOGE. Save America. Solvency. It's solvency. We are going bankrupt. Do you know that by 2055, our debt payment will outweigh our gross domestic product at this range? We don't want to cut anything. We don't want to cut a single benefit. Nobody's talking about cutting benefits. The purpose of DOGE is to cut out the fat, the waste, the corruption in order to save our benefit programs, to save Social Security, to save Medicare, save Medicaid, save the things that people are depending on, because we got to get rid of the waste. You look at Kennedy and HHS. He says, I'm going to cut out 20,000 people, which is 25% of my entire agency. 25%. Go from 82 to 62. There'll be zero impact on service or benefits. Zero. Well, what do those 20,000 people do? Oh, nothing, because they stayed home and, went on Zoom twice a day. How do you cut out 25% of your staff and it has no impact? Because it doesn't. That's exactly what they are doing.
Absolutely. How do you cut out 25% of your staff and nothing happens? Talk about being bloated. What are you all there for? What is the purpose of this if you can cut out that many people and it doesn't make an impact on the people that they serve? And they have the nerve to be crying outside their jobs, speaking about how, oh, this is going to hurt the American people. Why are you all doing this? And I want to be clear here. I'm not celebrating people losing their job. What I am saying is that if 20,000 people can be let go and nothing occurs with the company they're still able to run, perhaps they need to do a little tightening up.
Liberation Day, April 2nd. We made it. Here we are. Let's take a look.
April 2nd, 2025 will go down as one of the most important days in modern American history.
Here we are. And we heard elbows up, tariffs up. Here we come. Canada's going to get us. Take a look what Canada's saying.
We're going to sit down and discuss this because it's just going to hurt American jobs. And I can't stress it enough.
Ford says, hey, let's sit down and talk about this. Hey, guys, whoa. Let's sit down and talk about this, right? What happened to that big D energy he had before?
We'll do everything, including cut off their energy, with a smile on my face.
Are you smiling now, Doug? Are you smiling now? Because we don't see your smile now. April 2nd's here, and it's come to fruition. Are you still smiling? You still got that energy? You going to cut off all our power?
Buy on our energy. They need to feel the pain. They want to come at us hard. We're going to come back twice as hard.
How it started versus how it's going. ALX tweets this out right now. Ontario Premier Doug Ford said he's willing to drop all Canada's tariffs. Look at this. We'd be willing to take those off tomorrow. What happened to all that energy, Doug? So here we are, day one. How it started, how it's going. Liberation Day is trending, and money is coming back into the United States. Trump War Room tweets this out. Get used to seeing this logo because you're going to see it in America a lot more.
What happened to all that big D energy, Doug? This guy is silly, man. No, seriously, what happened to all that big D energy, buddy? Canada was talking real big and bad when things were just at a surface level and Donald Trump hadn't implemented anything yet. And now all of a sudden he's willing to do anything because he understands that America is not here to play with Canada. And yes, we can still be allies. We are allies. However, just because we're allies, that does not mean you get to take advantage of us. With allies like that, who needs enemies? All right, y'all. It's your girl Jada on another episode of Conservative Black Girls. Go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you think about these tariffs. How are these going to affect you and your family? Regardless of whether you're a Democrat or Republican, send this to somebody you care about. All right, y'all. I'm out.